everything. I'm just using the mic off the phone, so I'll wait till somebody jumps on before I get into anything. I don't see anybody jumping on just yet. I may have lost everybody. Shoot. Oh well. All right. Well, I'll get started. We got the Nordic Marine Instruments. This is a watch that I thoroughly love. Hey, all right, good. I had to reset everything and unplug my mic was plugged in. I thought it was good, but whatever. So anyway, I'm going to go through the watches here. I'll go through the first two I just went through, and I'll do them again. But the Nordic Marine Instruments, I love this one. This has a Scandinavian company name to it. It's actually made, I think, in Thailand, so it's not anything that's made in Scandinavia. But this is a full lume dial, which I absolutely love. I just love the look of it. It's a great sport watch. And for people that see it, they don't realize that this is a full lume dial until I light it up with a flashlight. I usually have a flashlight in my pocket, so this is something that I think really captures people's attention. I love it. It's just a great looking sport watch, high beat movement. I wear that one a lot. Notice sector. I think this is called the Blackbird, and I love the Blackbird because of the textured dial. You've got kind of the satin finish around the hour markers, the minute markers. There's just so much going on in this dial, and I love the handset. It's just so subtly distinctive. This is one thing when I do my reviews on analog watches, I always look to see if the hour hand is distinct from the minute hand. And I know it's like minor, but it's something that matters to me when they start to get close to each other and I'm trying to distinguish which one is which, especially when I have my reading glasses on. So for me to have the hour hand slightly different than the minute hand and vice versa, that just is great. Also, I love the crown on here where it gets wider on the outside. It's just easier to grip. Just feels better that way. So it has a fully adjustable clasp on here, which I love. Been wearing that one some. I've been wearing this one a lot. I've been wearing the Glycine Airman a lot. I don't know if you guys like seeing the Glycine Airman, but I just love this model. I love the simplicity of it, and the cost is right there where I can afford it. I'm not a fan of the butterfly clasps. Matter of fact, I genuinely don't like them at all. And part of it's because they're just so hard to get the bracelet to fit really nice on the wrist. Sometimes it's a little too snug or maybe it's a little too loose. And there's just not a lot of adjustments. You have half links or small links in here that you can adjust, and that's it. So, not a huge fan of the butterfly clasp, but for now it fits. So I guess I have to watch what I eat and make sure that it stays there at that adjustment. So this is one of my favorite ones. I've been wearing this one a lot. This is the Hamilton Khaki, and I forget the company that has these bracelets, but this is the Razor bracelet on here. I've had some people say they don't like it. I don't care, man. I think it's great. It's a satin finish. This is a bead blast finished case, so they don't totally go together. But I just love the look of this watch. I love it's a hefty, hefty watch. This is a thick watch. Here's the Glycine Airman when it comes to the overall thickness of it. Um, and what is it, the 7750 Swiss movement inside the Hamilton. So you've got a really heavy duty movement in there. But the bead blasted finish, I just like it a lot. It's also a very easy watch to read. There's no date complication in here, so you just adjust the time. Don't have to worry about setting the date. And of course, the chronograph it's just fun. And when I wear this one to school, the kids are like, "Oh, that is such a cool looking watch, or it's huge, or whatnot." But this also has this is not uh, a clasp that came with the bracelet. This is another clasp. So it's kind of a Frankenstein watch. Um, but it allows me to adjust on the fly, especially when you're wearing a heavy watch. I think this is huge. You got to make sure that you have that adjustment because you want it snug on the wrist when you have a really heavy watch head like this on your wrist because it can slap around quite a bit. So that's one that I've spent a lot of time wearing. Another one I love to wear, and this one I get asked all the time. Every time I bring this one out, people are asking me if I can sell it to them because it's a limited edition. This is the Hammerhead. I almost forgot, bronze edition, and you can see the patina on the bronze is absolutely perfect. I love it. Okay, this is one of my favorite dive watches of all time. Is this watch? I think this one and my Wise Adamascus, which is a more dressier watch, But if I want a watch that just is rough and tumble and sapphire crystal, you've got a regular, I think it's NH35 movement in here. Full lume dial. I love the minute hand, how it's blue. You've got the blue accent over here in the first 15 seconds on the elapsed time bezel on there, and it works. It's stiff enough where it won't move around on you, and it goes right back to 0, which I love, or 12. And then you have the 4 o'clock chrono. This is just such a great watch. I love it. And the spacing on the holes on here gives me enough adjustments, fine adjustments, where I can keep it kind of snug without it being too tight or too loose. You have 2 keepers on here, which is great. Brass or bronze pin buckle on there too. So that's one that always gets asked, hey, do you want to sell it? And no, it's not for sale, and it probably never will be for sale. I just did a recent review on this one, the Spinnaker, was it the Bradbury? And this is like a tactical watch. And for sure, this watch is kind of hard to read when you have, kind of a more shaded environment, because the indices just are gray. And also that means on the illumination on this, the lume on here, it's not the best, doesn't last the longest. But this is a watch that I got because it's just very subtle, and I wanted to get one that was just kind of blacked out type watch. So great little watch, compressor style. So you have the internal bezel that moves with the 2 o'clock crown. The 4 o'clock crown is what adjusts the date and the time. And yeah, it's just kind of a cool little watch. I like it. It's a little chunky. It's actually a little bit chunky. So it's what it is. And I got it that way for a reason. All right, a little AliExpress here. This is the Red Star Bullhead. Just cool. It's just absolutely cool. And then when you get to see the backside, this is what I show the kids at school. They're like, "Oh, that's a cool looking watch." I said, "Wait till you see the backside." And then I show them how you hit the start and stop. And then there's a stop button here. Let's see if it's going. Oh, it's not going just yet. So we'll start it out here. Raises that little sickle type lever, and then stop, and then reset. I think this is called a column wheel. There it goes. Yep, you can see the escapement wheel going back there as well. It's manual wind, so you got to be careful when you wind it so you don't overwind it. 2 keepers as well. I love when a watch has 2 keepers. I think that's great because it really keeps things close to the wrist. Even if I don't have a lot of extra strap that's hanging out, I still like to have it as close to the wrist as possible so it doesn't catch on anything. That's such a cool looking watch. I wear that one I think it's just one of those conversation pieces. Now, I've been wearing some other ones here. Let's get into some of the sport ones again. San Martin. This is perhaps, I think, their best design, color scheme, finish. You've got some polish. You've got some satin finish on here, brushed finish. I just love the red on this one. Absolutely love it. Fully adjustable bracelet clasp on here that you can adjust on the inside, press, and you can adjust and fine adjust it, which is great. Simple movement. It's a Seiko movement, so it's easy to work on, get tuned up. But what a great looking watch. It's such a cool red fume dial. I love it. Let's see here. Zelos. Swordfish. I've got a few swordfishes, and this is one of my favorite. The kids at school call it the egg yolk. Uh, and I think a few other people have called it that because the color looks just like an egg yolk. Sandwich dial, full lume bezel, really cool thing to light up. And a matter of fact, I think what I'll do before I end this is I'll get all the watches out here and spray them down with some UV light and have them reflect some light. But again, fully adjustable clasp, internal adjustment there. You can see that where it says push in there, so you get that set up, which I really like. I'm pretty set on not buying watches that are more expensive that don't have that fully adjustable clasp. If they don't have it, I'm not buying it. It's just, to me, it's like anti-lock brakes. It's like, why would you buy a car without anti-lock brakes? Unless you're buying a classic. Understandable then. So, Revlot. I just wore this one recently, and I have a hard time wearing this one because it's got the gilding on here, the gold, a little bit of bling on it. And I'm not a bling guy, but I wore it the other day and I was like, man, this watch is sharp looking. It really is. This is my first watch that I bought that was under 40 millimeters. I was kind of freaking out when I bought it. It's like, I don't know if that's going to be good for me because I have kind of a larger wrist. I'm a bigger guy, 6'2", 200 and what 25, 230 pounds. So bigger guy. So that you get something like this on there, and man, it just stands out. It's just a nice looking watch, and the lume on this watch is some of the best lume on any of my analog watches that I have. This goes up there with the Wise Damascus. I wish they would test this out, Jordy or is it Jody? Jody, Dave, um, all the guys that are doing the lume test, like get the Revlot in there and test it because I think this one is right up there. I think it's in the top 10 when it comes to brightness and longevity. Love the watch. Great little watch. This one has the micro adjust on here, so it was back before they really started coming out. So this I got this like 3 years ago now. Yeah, about 3 years ago. So it's been a while. Here's one of my limited edition watches. This is one of the other watches that people ask me for. This is the second hour Mandala limited edition. This is gold gilded, gilted, whatever you pronounce it. And the bracelet on here is just so cool. Love it. Absolutely love the bracelet. And again, this was before they had the micro adjust or the fully adjustable clasp. So you got to deal with that. But again, look at the texturing on the dial. You have the 12, 4, and 8 hour markers are different than the others. So you have this triangular feel to everything on here. Um, yeah, it's just a fantastic looking sport watch, high beat movement. So it gets a little bit smoother second hand sweep. I love it. Exhibition case back. Yeah. I'm not sure. I don't have a lot of exhibition case backs. I'm not too concerned about them. Partly because when you're wearing the watch, you don't really see it. So unless you have something, I go back to that bullhead. Where'd it go? The bullhead. When you have something really unique, like that Chinese movement, which is actually a Swiss design movement, you have something like that, that's worth looking at for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And even the Revlot, it's cool because they use the hex shape as kind of a lattice on the back of there, but you just hit everything. So I don't know. But it's kind of a cool little extension of the hex design on there. The Seiko Samurai, but what really makes this pop is the barbed wire. I think it calls it the barbed wire bracelet on here, which I absolutely love. I think it's so cool. It is so incredibly flexible. As far as comfort goes, once this is dialed in, and you've got, is it four? No, three micro adjusts on here for the pin there. But this is so incredibly comfortable to wear. I absolutely love this setup. And this is probably another watch that I'm not going to let go of, mostly because of this bracelet. This bracelet is unbelievably comfortable. Unbelievably comfortable. And you can wear it a little more snug because it does move and articulate around a little bit. So when you're gripping something and your wrists are doing things like, trying to get this on camera here, like when you move your fingers around, stuff like that, the bracelet actually moves around and it just feels more comfortable when you get it dialed in like that. All right, Ver. I've got Ver and Vero. I always get these two messed up. This was a watch that was sent in to me, and I absolutely love this watch. It's a quartz movement, great lume, great bezel, super fun watch to wear, super simple, and I love the colors on here. You've got that sunburst effect on there with the blue, which is really cool. Good date window highlighted there. Just really simple watch, extremely lightweight because it is a quartz movement, and then you have the quick release on the straps here. So just a fun watch and really just a beautiful blue color. Beautiful. This is one of the blues I just really like this blue. It's kind of a deeper blue. It's not a real bright blue, but then you get that starburst or sunburst effect on the dial, which kind of brightens things up because it's kind of darker. So I don't know. That's a fantastic looking watch. Another one that people keep saying, oh, they're going away, and I keep seeing these for sale, and I don't know if these are actually discontinued or not. But this is the Citizen NY, what is it, NY009, something like that. Full lume dial, left-hand drive. It's just a cool looking watch, and I just like it because it's got that kind of rugged look to it. I think it's probably as close to the Seiko SKX as far as a competitor goes. One of the things I don't like about it though is the handset. This is something if you go full lume dial, let me pull out the other ones that I have here, they're full lume dial. You want to get a blackout handset. And you can see now when you look at them together why that would be the case, right? You just get more contrast when the lume is active and the hands are completely dark, or vice versa. When it's light out, all I have is just a little bit of outline in black around the hour hand and minute hand. It just, I don't know, it's a little bit more difficult. We're just kind of splitting hairs here, but you'll see that I've spent more time looking and making sure that any full lume dial, which is the Nordic Marine here, this is full lume as well, it has a blackout handset. And then the last one I have that's up here is the Hammerhead blackout handset. Okay. So if you go full lume, I think you got to go blackout, and it just makes everything, as far as reading it, that much easier to do. So, and vice versa, when you go with a dark background, you want the white handset. The whiter, the better. I love the contrast. That's one of the things I go for. I really do. When I look at a watch, there's a checklist that I go through. I go through legibility, size of the dial, indices. Is it too busy? Then I go for contrast. Is it contrasty enough? And then from there, it's the movement, it's the crystal, and then a few other things. Strap, the holes. Do they look like they're, got plenty of holes on there? Or do they have like Casio, where they have, too much space in between? Last one of the analog watches is my Vero backcountry. I've added a wristwatch compass. The reason for it is I do wear this one. If I don't wear my Pathfinder outside, I'm wearing this watch. Um, I'll take this off when I'm actually going to use it, because having it next to your watch is not the best way to get a magnetic bearing. And these aren't the most accurate compasses in the world, but they're going to generally get you a northerly direction, right? So if you're not way, way out in the back country, I think you'll be fine with a watch compass as far as that goes, especially on a cloudy day. But love this watch. Great, great little watch. Your start and stop is off of the orange button. It controls the orange dial, or it controls the orange hands. And then sweep back, which is cool. Just love it, you know. And then I believe, yeah, this is the internal bezel. You can change this around for a second time zone if you want. And it's a screw down, which I really like. Great Velcro strap. Fantastic. Fantastic watch. Quartz movement, just kind of wait for the batteries to die, throw another battery in there. You got it good for 3-4 years probably. All right, so those are all of the analog watches I've been wearing for the past, I don't know, 3 months or so. Now let's get into the Casios. And we're going to start off with one of my favorite watches that gets a lot of attention. And that is, let's see what the number is on here. I got to say this like I know what I'm doing. Yeah, here it is. The CMD 40. Yeah. Now, if you're a vintage person like myself, I'm a vintage type person. 1970 was when I was born, so I've got a few decades on the other side of the 20th century, or 21st century, that is. Um, this, if you remember this was where you had the infrared uh, emitter that was also a learning remote control back in the 80s and 90s. Learning remote controls were such the rage. Like, you had all these different remotes, and then you got the learning remote control. Well, this actually is a learning remote control, and you can control it with these buttons. You can control a VCR. For those of you that don't know what that is, that's a video cassette recorder. You can control that there. And these buttons are programmable. Like, you can do different things with these buttons. So if you go to the manual, and there's a uh, module number on the back, go to the manual, and you can program all those buttons. Has the typical calculator functions on here. Let me see if I can. There we go. There's a calculator. You have an alarm, stopwatch. That's pretty much it. And stopwatch, timer. You get your timer function through a stopwatch. If you take the time to set it up, you get a timer, but not as easy as a regular timer goes. But I wish they'd had a timer on here. I'm a big fan of a timer. So that's the CMD 40. Another one that I like to wear. Don't wear it a lot. And it looks kind of small on my wrist. This is kind of the smallest I can go, and that's the 168. Great little watch. It's the better version than the horrid F91. Can't stand the F91. And this one, that's one of the things I absolutely love about it. I can keep the light on as long as I want. Okay, and when I'm done, it's off. It doesn't stay on for 2 more seconds. I can go and I'm done. So I prefer this. If they could do this with more watches, I would prefer this, or maybe have it switch from touch to 3 second delay or something like that. But I love just the touch. Okay. When it's off, it's off. I don't have to worry about it. Okay. Typical F91 style setup. You go through the stopwatch and alarm, and then it goes to a time set mode, and then it stops. So, but just a great little watch. And I love the adjustable clasp. This is one of my favorite things about Casio, adjustable clasps on their bracelets. So easy to use. So incredibly easy to use. You can adjust them with a lot of different tools that are laying around that are not even tools. Um, so another one we're going to have here. This one I'm actually starting to. This is falling out of favor with me, and that's the what is this? The GW 9500. It's the 9500. I forget the designation. I think it's the GW 9500. The Mudman. I was pretty on fire with this when I went back about a year ago. Plus, I did the Rangeman versus the Mudman. I thought, oh man, the Mudman's pretty good. And Jim Kincaid over at his channel did a review on this, and this is one of his favorite watches of all time. And man, I tell you what, I think what it is, it's MIP poisoning. Um, there's too many MIP displays out there, and so then when you see this display, which is it has a double layer, you have the so if I press the compass button on here, whoops, that's the barometer. Press the compass button where it says compass. There's another layer that's over the top, and that's what adds a little bit of fuzziness to the display underneath. So that's part of, I don't know, it's great. I've always been a guy who, whenever I go out into the forest, the woods, whatever you want to call it, wilderness, I always have a watch that has a compass with me. So whether it's this one, or whether it is my Vero, or I'll show you in a few minutes here, my Pathfinder, I've always got something that has a compass on it. Because on a day like today, we had clouds all day today, you can get turned around pretty quick in Montana. And I think Montana still has the one place in the lower 48 that has the farthest distance between public roads, the greatest amount of area in land. I don't know how many square miles it is, but between public roads, so that if you actually were in that area, I think it's in the Bob Marshall Wilderness, where you get in there and it's miles and miles and miles before you hit a public road. So anyway, compass is very helpful for that. So I always have that when I'm out hunting or wandering around, hiking, stuff like that. I always have a solar powered compass bearing watch. Yeah, the Vero is not solar powered, and I'll probably in a year or so replace the battery anyway, just so I know a fresh battery's in there, and then go out with it and have it with a compass. So anyway, I'm not a huge fan, as much as I was before, of the Mudman. I do like this setup. I do like the metal bezel. I did fortunately wait long enough to when they came out with the metal bezel. I think Kincaid's first version of this one does not have the metal bezel on it, and you can see it's warped. He pointed that out in his videos. And so I was like, oh man, I'm not going to buy that model. So I just waited. And the first one that came out, this is called the MEC, the Emergency Worker model. So it has the fire, it has ambulance, and all that. This has the metal bezel on here, so it's a little bit more sturdy in that sense. All right, moving on here. Let's go to my two favorite. These are the brothers, Dub Brothers, the GD350s. I call them the Grunt because there's so many military guys that wear these. Cops wear these as well. This is one of the few negative displays that actually works. I've done a few negative display Casios before, and they are horrid. And I know I haven't done all of them, so I'm not going to speak to all of them, but I know that this one is really, really good. Not perfect, but really good. Great negative display. Also, vibration alert on here, which I absolutely love. I wish 90% of Casios had vibration alert. I think people would like it a lot more if they had the vibration alert versus the non-vibration alert. I do wear the positive display more frequently. The band on this one, the strap on this one is far more limber than compared to the negative display. And the negative display one, I think, if I remember right, that's a harder one to find. And this one's also kind of a harder one to find because the ones that are out there now have like a secondary color where the day of the week is. So this one is pretty plain that way. So I haven't seen this one around for a while. So I don't know if they've stopped making this particular color version or this display version or what. But yeah, these are, I don't know if these are going to be around much longer. And hopefully they come out with something with tough solar on here and get rid of that crap up top here with this whatever this countdown timer garbage is. Put a couple of solar cells up there. Put a solar cell up there because this is just a watch with an alarm. You know, it doesn't take a lot of energy, but I absolutely love it. And you can go right to the timer function right from the silver button. So whatever the timer is set at, you hit this silver button. And so if you're doing interval training for weightlifting, whatever, and you set it up, it starts your timer right there. I had it at 9 minutes. Okay. Now for me to turn this off, I have to go to the timer function, turn it off, reset it, and then I can go back to, whoops, go back to the home screen. Okay. So, love this watch, the GD350. One of my favorite G-Shocks of all time is this one. People say, there's better ones out there. You're right. There's more legible ones, bigger numbers out there. The AE 1500 is great. Even the Mudman's bigger and more legible than this one. But the vibration alert, that to me is hugely important. I love it. So going along with that is one more watch that does the same thing. And I wear this one quite a bit. This is the Big Sky. Oh man, make sure I say this one right. Is this the 735 or the 736? I think it's the 36. Yeah, the 736. The 35 looks different. But the light on this one is fantastic because it switches over to a negative display, which I think is cool. So it's not as bright as you might get from something that just goes and lights everything up. Okay. So I love the light on this one. Also vibration alarm, a basic everything on here as the other ones. Dual time, stopwatch, timer. That's pretty much it. And any alarm or alert that you have, if you have it set up to vibrate, it'll vibrate, which I believe this one is. Yeah, it says up here at the very top, vibe. So that's a vibrate alert. This is about a $40 watch, and it is 100% worth it. It's a little on the chunky side, though. As far as watches go, it's a little on the chunky side. You got to be careful with that. It sticks up off the wrist pretty high. Another watch we're going to get into, okay, classic, yep, Square 5610U. This is the updated version. This has the automatic light. I don't know. I just think this is the best of the bunch. Now they have the MIP one that just came out. I know Dave over at Just the Watch or One More Watch or whatever his title is. He did the MIP display review, and I'm really tempted to go that route because this watch, when you get to the side, it starts to get a little bit dull. Okay. And the MIP is just so much better. But if that's the only reason, I don't know, if that's totally worth the extra money or buying another watch. But this one has everything: tough solar, multi-band 6, atomic timekeeping. I just set it outside because I hadn't worn this outside yet since the time change, and it adjusted to the time change. So this one's really sensitive to do that. I like that a lot. All right, another one. I call this one the magpie. Montana has a bunch of magpies, black and white. They're birds that are like they're cousins of the crow. Beautiful watch, super simple watch, bi-directional friction bezel on here, but super easy to read. I wear this watch just because it has such high contrast. It looks really nice. It's quartz, it's Casio, and it's like $25. Like how can you go wrong with something like that? And I think this is 100 meters of water resistance. Yeah, I think it's under the hour hand right now, but I'm pretty sure it's 100 meters of water resistance on here. And oh man, it's just a fantastic little watch. Day date. I love it. I love it. Great little watch. And I think I took the band off this and I put it onto, where did the gray man go? I had him out. I'm going to have to go get him. He's in the case still. The gray man. Now, there he is. Yeah. So the gray man had a different strap on here, but I destroyed another magpie trying to put the oil filled. I tried to fill it with oil and it didn't work out. So I took the strap off and pirated that. But the gray man is awesome. This one's been hacked for the timer function because not typically, they don't come into you with a timer function. They'll come in with the alarm, and then you'll have the stopwatch, and you'll have the dual time, and then you go back to the home screen. But there's a bunch of videos out there. If you go in, pull the module out, and scrape off some of the welding that's over one of the pieces on the circuit board, it actually activates the timer. And I've got it set up for 1 minute. The downside to this is there is a repeat function that's on here, but there's no indication that it's a repeat function. And the only way to know that is to actually start and stop your timer. Okay, and I'll turn it on for now. And then you'll find out whether or not this thing is set up on repeat. And then there's I think you press the set button in the set mode and it turns off the repeat function. So if you're doing like interval type training or something like that, or whatever the interval is, this watch will do that, but it doesn't display, there's no indicator that demonstrates that. So stopwatch, typical stopwatch, dual time. This is where you set the time up to the minute. So this is not just something where you turn the hour, you have to turn the hour and the minute. And I just saw in the news, what was it? I think it was a congressman in the federal level was proposing that we change our clocks as a compromise between daylight savings time and not daylight savings time, and just go to one time and not switch clocks every year, but change our clocks forward, I think a half an hour, or turn them back a half an hour. I'm thinking to myself, why in the world would you go a half an hour? That just totally screws up, your international type transfers of time. So this one's not set up to repeat, which is good. But that's what he's doing. He proposed it. It's like, that is the nuttiest thing I've ever heard. But you know what? It's Washington. So great watch. Now, I'm going to put this one down because this just came in the other day. And this might be, some of you saw my video short that I did on this. This is also the Gray Man, but it has the metal bracelet. And I love the look of this watch. The color of this, there's something about this color that's so bright. And then you have this dark bezel that goes around the outside of the display, and that's it. And then it goes into a light colored display. It is sharp looking. I absolutely love it. 100% love it. The light on here is great. It's the same. Everything's the same, so you're going to have the same light, everything. But for me, man, what an upgrade on the watch. I'm going to do a review. I did a bunch of work on it today and wrote some notes down. But this watch is something else. It's not the most flexible bracelet that's out there. So if you have a small wrist, this may not conform to your wrist like you want it to be honest. If you start taking out a bunch of these um, spacers or lugs in here, links, I'm sorry, links. You start taking a bunch of those links, it may not conform to your wrist the way that you want it to. But I absolutely love the Gray Man. Great watch. The metal version is 50 some dollars, and then the non-metal version is like 30 some. On my other wrist, we'll put this out in the open. Jim Kincaid. This was his first influence in my life. He's influenced me in many other ways, but this was the first influence. I feel like we're on a first name basis now. But the GBDH 2000, love the watch. I put this on every night, get my sleep information. I'll use this when I'm out exercising, get my exercising information as far as heart rate goes. Also, the map, it puts your information of where you went on the map so that you know where you were exerting yourself hard. If it's like biking or running or something, you're doing some uphill work, you can kind of identify where that is. MIP display, again, when you see an MIP display like this, it's really hard to go back, like to the Mudman and say, you know what? Here, I'll just pull it out. You can see it. And I almost sounded Canadian there for a second. I'll just pull it out. Okay. You can start to see the difference. Like, it's just kind of fuzzy. I'm trying to get this so it's not, well, yeah, I guess hold it up so it just kind of washes things out. MIP versus a double layer display, and that's kind of what you see on those two. So the Mudman, I don't know if this one's going to last much longer. All right, here's my all-time favorite watch. It's never changed, and I've kind of been wondering if it would change. The PRW 6600Y, fantastic watch. The proportions on this are so good. It's a big watch, but it's relatively flat. Now, you don't have a lot of bezel, or I'm sorry, you don't have a lot of crystal protection from the bezel, but I kind of like that because it's more slick. You get something like the GBDH 2000 on here, and you've got some stuff that really sticks up. Okay, very chunky watch, but it also has things that can hang up on. Where this is very slick, gets underneath sleeves and jacket sleeves very easily. And it's super easy to read as far as the analog dial goes. All I'm interested in is the 12, 3, 6, and 9. and the rest I can, figure out on my own. Those all are have lume on them, and there's also a light on here as well that lights it all up. Everything gets lit up. The digital display and the analog display gets lit up. So fantastic watch. I love it. My favorite watch. Also, this is where you do most of the adjusting on the watch. Okay. I didn't realize this until right before I started doing this episode, but I had the daylight savings time turned off. So I went back and turned it on and it just adjusted itself to the correct time. So it was all ready to go. I was just holding it back by not having that turned on. So onto auto. So great watch, tough solar, multi-band 6, has all the functions: compass, barometer, altimeter, temperature, timer, alarm. Um, it even records altitude position or altitude at a particular time, so you know where you were as far as on the side of a mountain. For mountaineering, that's actually really important to know what the elevation is at a particular moment in time. So, yeah, this is my favorite watch of all time when it comes to Casios. I was just thinking as I was outside with this watch, I was like, if there was an apocalypse, I think I would grab this watch and I'd probably grab this watch. I'd grab these two. The Mudman, maybe. Where'd it go? The Mudman is a maybe. But I think the Mudmaster, the one that Jim is pining over right now, over on his channel, I think that might be the version I go for. I really like the slickness of this watch and the rubber on here. It's thick and very pliable. Like this strap, I don't think this is going to break. I've had this watch now we're getting close to 4 years. I think I got this in 2022, and I started doing some recording in the fall of 2022. So it's either close to 4 years or just over 3 years, and it has been outstanding as far as durability goes. And I love the buttons on here and everything else. So anyway, that's the watch that I'd go with if things hit the fan. All right, other odds and ends. What else do I have to show? A couple of updates, and that is this. I am done carrying these types of pocket flashlights in my pocket. This is the Nightcore Mini, and it's a great light, but for a pocket carry on a keychain where you have multiple keys and not just one big car key. I think if you had just one big car key, you'd probably be fine. But if you have multiple keys, like I have for my work, I've got like a padlock key, I've got my classroom key, I've got the outdoor entry to the building key, I've got my house key, I've got the car key that I drive. I've got a bunch of keys. I have had this go on in my pocket at least once a month. And what happens is I don't really know that it goes on because it usually goes on at the low level and it just drains the battery, and I pull out my flashlight and it's at zero. And so it's frustrating. I am done carrying this style of flashlight. And I have another one. I think Fenix has another one. I've stopped carrying that one, and I have that one dangling on the outside of my computer bag. So I carry them, but I just don't want to put them in a pocket where these buttons get pressed. Because the lock feature on here is a press that's a duration. And when you hold it for a certain duration, then it locks it. Well, if it's in my pocket and I sit still for 3-4 seconds and that button's being pressed, it's going to unlock it. So it's the worst lock feature to have in your pocket is one that has to do with a button, especially if the button is accessible. So let me pull out my flashlight that I carry. I carry the Frog, which is a lumen top. I carry the Frog. Okay, about the same size as the Mini. Okay, it's actually brighter. This is 700 lumens, I think, if I remember right, on turbo, and it doesn't last for very long. The battery is only this big. It's a super small battery. But I carry this in my pocket, and I do carry it unscrewed. All right, because the same thing, I've got an exposed button. But I can unscrew this to where I just turn it once or twice, and then it's ready to go. And it's fully charged. Even when it's unscrewed, it's also not discharging over time. It's just like a battery sitting on a shelf. So I like that as well, where you do get a little bit of passive drain on a battery like this because it's hooked up to everything. And unless you disconnect it, I believe it slowly, passively drains the battery over time. But by doing this, you have it loose. I think you run a better chance of preserving this battery. I went to charge it up, and it took like 2 minutes to charge up because it had hardly anything that had just kind of I guess, drained out of the battery on its own. Batteries will just kind of discharge over time anyway. They just kind of do. I'm not a scientist in that area, so I don't know exactly the explanation for it, but they do. But this is the pocket carry. You can see how much it's worn. I love this flashlight, and I use it a fair amount in the wintertime, especially when you're going inside and outside in the dark because of the light and the sun is just not up as long. So that's one thing I carry. What else? I have been carrying, I got to show you this. This is kind of fun. Um, my favorite flashlight. I think this is it. I don't think I'm going to go away from this flashlight. This is the Well-Tool T1 Pro. This is the version 2. Version 1 has a high and a low. Version 2 has a high, medium, and a low, which I think is really important. So it's the same flashlight, same max. I think it's the same max output, version 1 versus version 2, but you end up with a medium on version 2. This is a great flashlight. If I was still a cop, this would be my vest because this is great because the beam on this is so tight that this is a long throw beam out of a very small flashlight. This is a AAA, so what is this? The 14, this is the 14500. I forget the numbers of the batteries. I haven't 1100. So it's where did it go? Yeah, 14500. That's the model number or the style of battery. Um, and it's a tail cap press, and you get to low by hitting multiple times, and then it goes to low. And if you press right away, it starts out at high, and then there's a medium in between. Great clip. And I just carry this deep in my pocket. I don't have this hanging on the side of my pocket at all. But this, hands down, is the best flashlight for its size, for a long throw. If you're doing any kind of tactical work and you need to get that flashlight out there a little bit, it's good. It's not real good for close quarter CQB type stuff. If I did a lot of clearing rooms, let's say I was an urban cop, I was a deputy sheriff, so we did a lot of outdoor stuff too. But if I did a lot of urban, so like cities, suburban type work where you're always in buildings or streets or whatever, I would definitely want to have a wider throw beam on here. I would not want to have the long throw beam that's on this one. I'd go with something with a wider spread because you need that when you're clearing rooms, when you're clearing buildings or something like that. It's just something that's very helpful. All right, what else do we have here? The emissary. This pocket knife I have had probably close to 10 years now. Baba Boyle, if he watches in my videos, he's the one responsible for this one. I had to go buy another clip because I've had this catch on the little door thing that's on each door. You have that metal lip that kind of sticks out. Well, my pocket is right at that level, and it hangs onto this. It catches on this all the time and bends it out. But this is an assist open, and it just snaps out. This is the axis lock. So this has got two-hander to put back. You could do it one-handed, but I keep my knives so sharp that I don't know. I'm a little leery of that. But assist open, very pointy blade, um, and it's just a great little knife. And again, when it comes to what's in my pocket, I've got those couple of those things. I've got my keys, and that's pretty much it. Oh, one more. I know I've done pocket carries before, but I'm like reaffirming this is probably the best pocket carry for just everyday type things because and it happened today. I had a fingernail that started to tear. And so I pop out the fingernail clipper. I don't know how many guys, like when you get into this, I don't think you go away from this. How many times do you have something that's up with your fingernail that you got to take care of? And I tell you what, man, this is great. It still has the scissors, it still has the knife, it has the file. Scissors is on this side. It still has your toothpick and it has your tweezer. Okay, it has all that good stuff. This is the small version. Okay, but it's a little bit thicker because of the nail clipper in there. But that nail clipper, I have not used another nail clipper since I bought this 2+ years ago. I use this nail clipper all the time. So this isn't just like an emergency nail clipper. I use this one all the time. And it's so easy because I can know exactly which side of the knife is because there is this like serrated deployment tab here, which helps you pull this out and it lifts it up. And when you push it down, it snaps it up. So I know exactly which side has my fingernail clipper in here. I just did my one or two of my fingernails in church the other day because again I caught on something and it's like just a little bit of a tear in it. That just drives me nuts. It's like fingernails on a chalkboard for me. So that's something else that I've been carrying around. So let's go through some of the comments here. The Workhorse TDO2, yeah. EDC 29. You know, Nitecore does make some really good stuff. I'm not dissing Nitecore at all. I have a matter of fact, I have for some of my filming, I use one of these Nitecore lights. Okay, so this is a light that has temperature adjustments on here. So I can adjust the temperature of the light. So that's very warm. I can go all the way to where it's really cold. But I love Nitecore. They make good stuff. This style light does not work in my pocket. I have yet to see, because even the Fenix, I carried the Fenix. Like, well, maybe it's the Nitecore. Carried the Fenix, same thing. When it's that press, that lock press that you have. No problems with the Lumen Top Frog, Matt. I like the way that I have it set up where I unscrew the bottom. I have never had it go on. I've never had an issue of turning it on because I know right away I just give it a quick turn or twist and it's ready to go. I think it's like just over one turn, like 1.5 turns. So I'll have it on and I'll back it out until it's off and then I'll go one turn. So then I know it's one turn and it's on. So going through some comments here. Let's see. I think that's it so far. Yeah, so those are the watches I've been wearing. I've got a whole bunch more coming. Like I said, I ordered the whole Casio AE series of watches. Here, I'll put these watches out here so you get a kind of view of what watches were out here. But I got the whole AE series, the AE 1200, the AE 1300, the AE 15, 16, 1700, the AE 1100. That's one I hadn't heard of before, but the 1100 was out there. The 1000, AE 1000, there's an AE 2000. So those are all coming, and these are the watches I've been wearing. So I do wear a number of watches. And I'll throw my faves out here. So these are the guys that I won't leave home without if I have to leave quick. There's a full lume dial there. There's a full lume over here. I'm gonna go grab my my UV torch, and we'll light those up so you can see it. And we'll turn these guys off. And you can see, yeah, full lume. I love lume. I'm a lume nut. I love lume. I think lume is one of the coolest things. And honestly, it makes the watch more useful in low light conditions. I mean, there is I think, a reasonable reason for that. I love the hammerhead. The hammerhead, this one stays lumed all night long. The NMI, the Nordic Marine Instruments, not so much. The Citizen, nah, no. The Revlot, this one right here, like you can see this thing just jump out. I'm telling you, someone's got to do upside down. Someone's got to do a review of that one. That is incredible. I still have 2 lights on in the room right now, behind me. Here's the Zelos swordfish. This one's going to stay lit for a while as well, but this is not the white version. So anyway, you get the idea. Lume is awesome. So a couple other things, odds and ends. I have because this is part of my faith story, part of my walk with God. So I'm going to share it. But I think it's interesting. You guys might find it interesting. I've had a Bible for almost 40 years, and let's see if I can get that all the way back. I just recently had it rebound, and let me pull this up. There we go. And so they took the old binding off. It was literally, the cover was just about ready to fall off. There's a guy down in Florida that did this. I think this is buffalo hide, and he put brass buttons on here. And the reason there's a cover like this is because I keep a mechanical pencil in here so that when I take notes and I load my Bible up with notes, here's the book of John. You can see where the notes are in here. I got to have a pencil with me. If I make a mistake, then I can erase it. I used to do it in pen. I'll tell you what, that's gutsy. You do something like that in pen, you got to be patient. Make sure you know what you're saying before you start writing. Okay, you're writing in the Word of God, so I take my time, do that. But this is the rebinding I had. It took him like 2 months, 2.5 months before he got to it. He had a backlog, and then I think something else happened in between. And I'll just put this over the side. I don't want to crush all my watches either. Something else I keep handy is a travel Bible. This is what is it? CS Christian Standard Bible, CSB version. So I got to turn these lights back on. There we go. Get some light back in here. So this is a great little travel Bible. It's about the size of the palm of my hand. It's really small, so I have to have my glasses with me when I'm using it. But it's a great travel Bible. And the late great John MacArthur. This is a MacArthur Study Bible. This Bible, I'll tell you what, this is competition for the NIV, which is this one right here, that one I rebound. As far as study material goes in here, this has the best reference section in the back when it comes to cross-referencing words. It has the most pages with the most words out there is the NIV Study Bible. Well, the MacArthur Study Bible is a close second. There's a lot of interesting stuff in here as well with the MacArthur Study Bible, maps, things like that. But you also have the concordance in the back, which is pretty cool too. And then the king of the Bibles here, this is a monster, and this is the Reformation Bible by R.C. Sproul. And I gotta show you what this looks like just size-wise. So here's MacArthur's Bible, and here is R.C. Sproul's. I gotta set this down for a second so I can get a good grip of these two Bibles here. And you can see the thickness of these. I'll put all three of them on my hand here. Do some curling here. All right. So the top one is the NIV, which looks like it's thicker, but it's not. The pages are so much more worn and puffy. If I press down on it, it'll turn to about just a little bit bigger than the middle Bible, which is the MacArthur Study Bible. But the bottom one is the Reformation Bible with R.C. Sproul as the editor. And this Bible I go to all the time. It's ESV. And if you're looking for a Bible, anybody out there looking to get a Bible, you don't have one, you've never read the Bible, you have zero experience with the Bible, here's my advice. Go get an ESV study Bible. They're about $30. Matter of fact, this one right here, which I give these away, okay? This is a journaling study Bible. It's still wrapped up in plastic. I give these away. It's an ESV study Bible. Get a study Bible. It helps you, like there's commentary in there that will help you understand, like, what did that mean? Like, what's the history behind that word? Because, let's find something. Here's Romans, okay? Romans chapter 9, one of my favorite chapters of all time. Romans chapter 9, the sovereignty of God, of his choice. And there's all of this information that helps us understand what's going on in Romans chapter 9. The ESV Study Bible is legendary for this. Across denominations, the ESV Study Bible is the way to go. This is the Reformation Study Bible by R.C. Sproul. What this has that the ESV Study Bible does not have is it has commentaries in the back on certain topics like the Bible and church history. Okay, so it gives you articles on that. But then it gets into the creeds and confessions and catechisms. And like, what is that? Like, that is like what? Just people, mumbling to themselves, unconsciously? No. You have like the Apostles' Creed, the Nicene Creed. These are all church history answering the challenges that came to Christians at the time. So this Bible is loaded with that kind of information, which I've not seen in any other study Bible, are the creeds, confessions, and catechisms. That's not in the ESV Study Bible. It's in the Reformation Study Bible with R.C. Sproul as the general editor. This is the one that I use a lot more. And I got to say, I'm kind of going away from the NIV Study Bible because I think the NIV Study Bible is probably for newer Christians. And I think once you get established in your faith with God and God's working with you and helping you understand things, I think the ESV Study Bible, Reformation, Reformed theology are questions that just are really hard to answer, which is like, well, wait a minute. The Bible says God chose me before the foundations of the world. What does that mean? Okay, well, there's opinions out there. I'm not going to get into it right now, but there's opinions out there. And that's where I think a study Bible really helps at least inform you. You may not change your mind, but it will help inform you. I actually now am finding myself disagreeing with my NIV study Bible on a very few couple of things I see as far as those commentaries at the bottom or comments at the bottom. So anyway, I just wanted to show that I'm really happy and pleased with the work that I forget his name. I'll try to remember to put this in the comments or in the description. He did a great job. He put new ribbons in there as well. There was only one ribbon in there before. He put three of them in there. They're all color matched. He did some spine. He did some I forget what they call it, like ribs on the side of the Bible. And then down here at the bottom is my code 5128. Okay, 51.2.8. And it's really a reference in the Bible. I'm going to give it away. For decades, I used to tell people, "Oh, you got to figure it out. This is the key to what I do." So this is the 51st Bible, 51st book of the Bible, 2nd chapter, 8th verse. This is Colossians 2:8. Okay, and I'll let you guys look that one up. This is what I strive for, what I am passionate about. So he did a great job. I love it. I wanted to make sure I showed that to you. And there's a few other Bibles in there. Books I'm reading: Spurgeon and Hyper-Calvinism. Hyper-Calvinism is the idea of everything's determined, so we don't have to do anything. That's Hyper-Calvinism generally. And Ian Murray, he goes back and looks at Spurgeon, what he wrote, and Spurgeon was totally against Hyper-Calvinism, even though he was a Calvinist. This is a book my son gave me for Christmas. I got two of these, one in Psalms, and what's the other one? Ephesians or something like that, Galatians, something like that. So I decided to start reading Psalms, but it's Spurgeon, and he has Spurgeon's commentary up here, and then you have in the New King James the actual Psalm. So here's Psalms 43, but here's a little bit of Spurgeon's commentary at the top, which is really cool. And I'll make comments. I'm always making comments in my Bible, underlining things, because that's what you do those things in your Bible. It's called multimodal learning. You have multiple modes of your brain being activated at one time. Yeah, here's some more. And so you tend to remember it more. Okay. So that's something he got me. Apparently, there's a whole set of these out there for I think, almost the entire Bible. Great little one book commentary / Bible selections with Spurgeon as the guy who's doing the reading. Last but not least, I just finished a book. I gotta say this one, because this will change your life. The Bible will change it. This will also change it. MacArthur's book on the gospel according to Jesus. I was not a MacArthur fan for decades. And at times, he kind of rubs me the wrong way. But I started reading this book. I'll tell you what, I could not put this one down. This book right here. I'm a skeptical atheist. That's my background is skepticism and an atheist, even though I was raised in a Christian home. And so I was always questioning. I'd do my own things. Like, nobody can tell me what to do. That was my attitude for decades. This book, MacArthur, when he writes and when he gives a sermon, what I really appreciate about him is he's always, always, always giving references to Scripture. He does not preach without the Scripture. To contrast that, Joel Osteen, who doesn't preach Christianity, he preaches something that's completely bastardized. He hardly ever uses Scripture. Matter of fact, the book he wrote, Your Best Life Now, I believe I heard someone who, I haven't read it, but I trust the person who read it, very much trust the person who read it. They said there was not one reference to the Bible in the entire book. So anyway, this book, highly, highly, highly recommended. John MacArthur, The Gospel According to Jesus. If you call yourself a Christian, then this is the guy who defines it. I mean, it's really simple. And I struggle with some ideas in there because of what I was doing in my life. And it's convicting. It really is convicting. I think that's the way it should be. So 30 seconds away from, oh, hey, got some more questions here. Let's go through these. No problem with the lumen top frog. I got that one. The night core. Tim Wandering Dad. Hey Tim, any thoughts on the G Rescue GW 7900? I haven't heard of that one yet, so I don't know about the GW 7900. I'll go look that one up. I got so many Casios coming in right now. I'm gonna be done for about a month or so on reviews as far as like getting new stuff in here. Um, so yeah, I'll look into it though. The GW 7900. That sounds like that sounds like a G-Shock. I don't know what model. I don't recall that model off the top of my head, but it sounds like a good G-Shock. G-Shocks are always good. So anyway, there you go. That's the update. The watches I've been wearing for the past, I don't know, 3 or so months, Casios and everything else. Some books I've been reading. Pick up the Bible and read, everybody. You know, especially if you call yourself a Christian. Got to do it. Otherwise, if you're curious about it, it'll change your life. You pick it up, you won't put it down. If anything, it'll make you angry but convicted. That's what happened to me, and it was a good thing. I'll never go back. So, all right, y'all, take care. I will catch you guys next time. I'm going to try to do these about once a month. I'm going to talk to Jim and to Paul. Things in my life have calmed down a little bit. Just to kind of give you an update on that too. My second oldest son was diagnosed with cancer late last summer, and it was really serious. And stage 4 lymphoma, and through the grace of God, in the next 5 months, he went through chemotherapy, and the tumors that were visible on his body completely gone. They did a DNA test for cancer cells to see if there was any DNA cancer in his blood. Completely negative, completely gone. An incredible answer to prayer. And either way, answer to prayer, but unbelievable. And he is healing, and he's doing much better. His hair's coming back. And you've seen him in other episodes I've done. Noah is my son that had that happen. And he's going to go back to work. It's just an incredible story. And God's work in his life is just amazing. And found out the week after my second oldest son told me that he was cancer free. Next week, I found out my brother has brain cancer, and so I'm going through that challenge right now in my family too. So it's the way life is. So you know, I don't um, I don't look at the Bible the same way. It's no longer just a thing that you do to check off a box. It's at times it's survival. We'll see you guys next time.